Welcome to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, powered by the College of Southern Nevada. Each week, we'll be featuring business owners and entrepreneurs that will provide their personal recipes for business, powerful conversations, and knowledge of the business world. We amplify the stories of various backgrounds, cultures, and expertise. Our self-identity is as diverse as our social community. We cultivate a community of like-minded individuals that share their different perspectives, broadening our worldview. Are you ready? This is the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Welcome back to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, under the operation of the College of Southern Nevada here at the North Las Vegas campus for another social impactful episode. I'm your host, Sean Torrey, with our DJ Icebreak.
DJ Icebreak.
Our episode today is called Social Media Success with Schae Loves Social. A special guest, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today's guest discusses her helping business owners and micro influencers achieve their own social media goals. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about it. So our guest today is a graduate from the College of Southern Nevada, Go Coyote family, with a degree in journalism, media studies, and public relations. Our guest has a love for content creation, social media, and has also allowed her work and her passion with brands such as Revlon, Victoria's Secret, Aunt Jackie's hair care, my apologies, and Derma E. Ladies, gentlemen, today, the content creative, the fashion lifestylist, okay? The compassionate founder and CEO of Schae Loves Social, Miss Scheherazade Hollins. What's going on, Scheherazade?
Hello.
Man, how you feeling?
That was a lively introduction.
Hey.
I don't think I've ever.
You don't think you ever had it?
No, not like that before.
Oh, then that's why I do it. That's why we do it here. Okay? Nah, just saying. So how you doing, Scheherazade? It's great seeing you, man.
I'm great. How are you?
Man, I'm better. Been recouping.
Glad to hear it.
Been recouping. So I'm doing a lot better. I'm just happy to be alive, man.
I mean, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Folks who don't know, I had emergency surgery recently. Scared the heck out of me, but I'm alive, y'all. I'm alive. So I'm thankful that I'm here. No complaints. All that good jazz, right? So, Shahara, tell us a little bit about yourself, ma'am.
I am literally a Jane of all trades. If it's a job...
Did you say giant of all trades?
Jane.
I'm
a Jane of
because
all
you ain't a jag. She's a Jane of all trades.
If it's a retail, I'm a licensed cosmetologist,
okay,
makeup artist, office administration. Mm-hmm. I worked in restaurants, I worked in nightlife, and now here I am in social media.
Come on now.
So
talk about
all of those things allow me to do what I do now.
Talk about it.
So like you said, my love for social media, like I used to say when Instagram was slowly becoming a thing, I used to be like, I just want to get paid to be on social media. Like I just want to get paid to be on Instagram all day. And people used to think I was crazy when I would say that. And now here I am, and my job is literally building people's strategies and building people's businesses on social media. So I get paid to scroll.
So talk about where the beginning comes from. Actually, let's go a little back, because when you were a student here, you used to work for Campus Life with us.
Yeah.
You did our social media.
Yeah.
You definitely, I appreciate that. You definitely helped us out. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I miss you, dog, because I ain't got the time.
It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time
in its own.
And that's why I hired you to do it, because I ain't got the time.
Yeah, so I got my start actually as an influencer. Being a licensed cosmetologist, I was doing hair and makeup, but I was that person that everybody would call and text and be like, what do I use for this? How do I do that? And I got tired of copying and pasting the same text message all over and over again. And a friend of mine was like, you could just start a YouTube. And if people watch the video, then you get paid. And I was like, oh, tell me more. And so that is how this snowballed into. So I started as an influencer. That's how I created my network and my branding and all of that on the other side of the camera. But as I started doing that, I realized I loved doing everything leading up to sitting in front of the camera and being like, "What up, y'all? It's Schae Love. Welcome to Smile." Like, I love the curating of the content, like the styling. What am I going to talk about? What is my background going to look like? Like the editing. I loved all of that. The strategy part. So in that, I realized like, okay, I could kind of pivot. And I started having more friends ask like, how did you do this? I want to do what you do.
Right.
And in doing that is just, I started helping other people. I've helped one of my friends. She had like, I think we started at like 4,000 followers and she's at like 25K now.
Come on now.
And helping her with her like mommy blog and things like that. And just really curating strategies. Even now, some of the clients that I work for now, like they're big brands, and a lot of people think that like someone is just constantly posting and doing it every single day. No, that's a plan. There's a calendar that's put out, and so I fell in love with that, and that's how I started Schae Love Social.
That's how you say Schae Love Social. Yeah. I like that. Schae Love Social. Got a ring to it.
Thanks. I tried.
Now, can you think of a time where you planned something and it didn't go accordingly? Like, how did you make it work when it came to Schae Love Social?
Ironically, it's part of how I like decided to just fully immerse and be a full-time entrepreneur. The thing that I thought was going to work was working for other agencies. And because, right out of school, they're like, go get experience and blah, blah, blah. And so here I am with that like new grad mentality of like, I need real world experience, totally negating the fact that I had just been an influencer for the last 3 years, 4 years. I had my experience. So when I would go to these agencies and I would be in interviews, they say like when you go to an interview, they're interviewing you, but you're interviewing them as well. Right. I would ask them questions like, what, software are you using for this? Or how are you keeping up with this? What are your KPIs? And I would be in my interview teaching the director of communications something about social media.
Yeah, because communications in the tech evolves rapidly.
Yeah.
So what you learned in school was pretty much a waste because I was already outdated.
Right. But I was also keeping up with it. So then when I'm talking to like the person who's the director of this company in this department and they're trying to hire me, I'm asking them questions that they don't know the answers to. Ooh. So I was like, okay. And then I would get to these jobs and they would have these policies and whatever their strategies were for whatever. And it was outdated. Like we were doing things that I would say so far back to 2019, but there were some times where like it changed last week. So we have to keep up. Yeah. And I just got really frustrated of like going into company meetings and having these pitch meetings and coming up with like all these strategies or being like, hey, did you know that Instagram changed this or Facebook changed that or Twitter changed this? And they're like, oh yeah, no, we didn't know that, but we're going to keep doing it the old way. Okay, well now engagement on our clients' pages are going down and they're losing business. So how are we're not giving them what we said we're going to give them, right? So that was something that I realized like, okay, this isn't working. Like they say if you're the smartest person in the room, get out of the room because you're not going to learn anything. It wasn't that I was the smartest person in the room. It was just that I was the only person in the room committed to evolving and growing and keeping up with the change. So that's when I was finally like, you know what? I can't do this. So I quit my job. And it was like, okay, now what? Like that fear of like, now what? But at the same time, that's when people were like, it was like slowly but surely, like people were like, okay, you have time now. I think people were more concerned with like me not having the time, but I had the time anyway. So that was just like, oh, and it just started happening. Like, oh, can you manage this? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you build a strategy for this, for that? Like my business is growing. I'm opening a new business. I need marketing. And here we are.
Right. Yeah. So even what are some things you've experienced that could have worked out in theory, but did not work out in practice?
Taking on too many social media platforms. Like trying to be an expert in all the platforms.
Because it's rapidly changing, right? Each one are like, so help me understand these platforms, because now the way I see it, Facebook's buying up everything, and Elon Musk just bought Twitter. So, and I thought Facebook owned Twitter for a little bit, but I guess not.
No.
So Elon Musk bought Twitter. The way Facebook and Instagram is ran is different now. The way because I'm seeing people that I normally follow, like the certain content creators like Haha Davis, right? He used to have a lot of engagement. I would see it all the time, and now his numbers dropped. And it's not even just him; it's like other folks too. that are like comedians.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on?
A lot of things actually. So, breaking down the platform. So like you said, like people think like, oh, Facebook just owns everything. They own a lot. They don't own everything. They do own a lot.
Right.
So Facebook owns Facebook, obviously, Instagram, WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
So that is all a part of like Meta. I think there's some other ones, but those are like the big three. And then not Instagram, Twitter is on its own, LinkedIn is on its own, Pinterest is on its own as well.
Right.
So all of those are also then broken up into like different demographics and different like age groups and all of that. So like Pinterest and Facebook they're on like the higher end. So like that's like boomers, Gen X. Those are our parents, right? So yeah, Gen X. And then like a little bit of the millennial, right? And then Instagram is millennial, Gen Z, and then are we back at A now? I think like the new generation.
Gen Z.
No, there's one.
Oh, there's now a new generation?
I think it's A, yeah. So whatever's after Gen A, that is like a little bit. But really TikTok, that the age group for TikTok is, last time I checked was like 10 to 23.
Yeah, I wouldn't be on TikTok. I don't feel like it's for me.
It's not. You're not in that age group.
That's fine.
So
like the job is trying to force me, and I'm like, listen, I'm still young, but I'm not young.
Yeah.
It ain't for me. Yeah. So if I can get a work study student who can do it all day, I refuse.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you also have to decide what your product is and who your product's for.
True.
So if your product's not for someone between the ages of 10 to 23, why are you on TikTok? Right? So that's breaking the platforms down. And then you said something about engagement. So a lot of creators it's being appealed to them of like joining like the content lab. Like Instagram has a content lab. TikTok has their creator studio or whatever. YouTube used to have one back in the day. I don't know if they still have it. But what happens with those is you have to reach a certain threshold in order to be invited, right? So you reach that threshold and you're like, oh my God, TikTok reached out to me or Instagram reached out to me. And you sign this deal with them thinking that they're just about to open the floodgates and you're about to get all these views and you're going to have all these contracts and all this money and it's just going to be great. But because TikTok or Instagram they have their own separate contract with the company.
Right.
They also create a contract with you. So they're in the middle. And if we're going to be honest, what have we noticed when it comes to
what's in the middle?
The Facebook cares about Facebook.
Yeah, that's
so at the end of the day, they don't really care about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they're facilitating these deals, you might get a little money, but then you notice your engagement goes down. You know that, like you said, so these big people who, you found on your own because you were scrolling on and they were doing their own due diligence. Now they sign these deals and all of a sudden you can't see them anymore. Combine that with the way all the algorithms on all the platforms work. And I've talked about this on my own page, but like what you like is what you see.
Right.
So I had a friend, and I talked about this on my page. I had a friend one day who like kind of got new to TikTok, and he was seeing everything that TikTok had to offer because he hadn't really used the platform and hadn't really started liking a whole lot of things.
Right.
But the more he started to like Black content creators, the more Black content creators he was seeing. And that's across all platforms.
Right.
So when you were saying people's engagement is going down, if people aren't liking similar things, then it makes their engagement go down. Combine that with Facebook looking out for Facebook and how can we best facilitate this deal and what influencer or what creator is going to bring us the most money.
Got you.
So someone like, I'm drawing blank, but like a Black comedian in comparison to, I hate to say it, but the white girls on TikTok, the white girls on TikTok are more marketable. So they're going to bring in the more money versus, the comedy sketches that for us make sense, but as a whole, like a global marketing thing, no one's going to get it. So they're always going to facilitate that deal.
I see what you mean. Well, thank you for breaking that down for us because it's It's getting unfortunate, but I gotta do this to you. Are you ready for me to do this to you?
I'm ready. I watched the show.
See, Liddy, then we putting you in the hot seat. She watches the show. So in this segment here, we provide in-depth questions to learn more about you as a guest, where we're gonna ask about your business. So, Miss Scheherazade, what does Schae Love stand for?
Ooh, so Schae Love is a combination of my nickname from my mother.
Okay.
She calls me Schae. Well, my family calls me Schae. And then one of her best friend's sons, when he was little, he used to call me Shaylo. Till this day, do not know where Shaylo came from. Don't know.
Schae Low or Schae Love?
Just Shaylo.
Schae Low. Okay.
Yeah. He used to just call me Shaylo. And it was weird, but I kind of just grew it into, I added the extra 2 letters, and that's where Schae Love came from.
Got you.
And so for me, it's personal, because my mom calls me Schae, and then, it was my mom's best friend and growing up with them. And so it's kind of it's a personal name,
right? But
also to be able to have it as an identity and my business and all of that. So that's where that came from.
Smooth. I love it. I love to hear it. I love how personal it got to. So now bringing a subliminal message within the meaning of the title just makes it that much more phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what are some common mistakes business owners make with their content trying to gain traction?
Ooh, not being consistent. That's the first one. Consistency. Yeah.
So consistency is the key. So expound on that. What do you mean by consistency?
So coming up with a strategy, and an informed strategy, an informed schedule, which is what I do, right? So people either post once every blue moon, or they're posting once a week, or they don't post at all, and then all of a sudden they post one time, right? If you're creating a business and you want brand recognition, you need to be consistent in that. You need to, whether it's posting every day, posting once a day every day, or posting once 3 times a week, whatever the case may be, you have to create that consistent schedule. So that people can know what to look for. So if you were a restaurant, a perfect example, Cinco de Mayo just passed. If you were a restaurant and you were having a Cinco de Mayo special and you have an Instagram page, and I want to come to your restaurant, I should be able to go to your Instagram page and know what you're doing for Cinco de Mayo. Or Juneteenth. If Juneteenth is coming up and you're a soul food restaurant and you having a soul food special, I should be able to go to your restaurant. Right. And in advance, not the day of. I should be able to go the week before and be like, oh, okay, such and such soul food restaurant, they doing this. So then that way, what am I going to do? I'm going to share it.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, what do we love to do? Girls love brunch.
Hey, listen, speaking of which, I'm trying to figure out a brunch for my mom and them tomorrow. It's Mother's Day.
Right?
Dang, I need to figure out a brunch spot. Speaking of which, go ahead. Proceed.
You share it, and that's the point, right? You want people to share it because now there's brand recognition on that. So creating the consistency and creating a schedule and having it, thought out in advance, not, for example, Mother's Day. Mother's Day is on Sunday. You shouldn't be posting on Saturday something that you're doing on Sunday. You should have posted last Sunday what was happening this Sunday.
Well.
So being consistent is a thing that I see that a lot of business owners do. That, and then they just post whatever. Where I sometimes, and this is for everybody, he, she, them, they, everybody. Friends, family, not friends, not family. I will scroll through social media and I'm like, what does this have to do with your business? Man. Why are you talking about this? Why am I on your business page and I'm seeing you clean your kitchen? Why am I on your business page and I'm looking at your son's soccer game?
Personal pages, personal stuff, personal posts.
Right? And that's not to say to not be personable.
Yeah.
But unless, again, back to restaurants, unless your restaurant is a sponsor of your son's soccer team.
Right.
Why are we there, right? So just posting whatever and thinking that because whether it's a TikTok or a reel, trending sound, a trending post, whatever, because everyone else is doing it, they should do it too. If you can't relate that to your business in some way, don't post it. Don't try to stay on trend because everyone's doing it. If it's a trending sound and you can listen to the sound and be like, oh, I can relate this to my business in a way.
Right.
Then post it. But if you can't, don't just post any old thing to just
because.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. So what are the benefits of using your service?
Time, Freedom.
Freedom.
I get a lot of my clients when they sit down and we do like their clarity call and all of that. Before the clarity call, I can guarantee I have right now I'm rolling with 6. 4 out of my 6 before I started working with them, the first thing they said was, I don't have time for it. I don't want to be on there. Like, it's exhausting. Like, I want to unplug. Like, some days, it's just too much.
Right.
And I say this, it's to the point where it's like it's almost scripted. My service is built so that you can unplug without sacrificing your business. Because
I like that a lot. I like that.
Because the reality is, if you as a business owner, if it's just you and you're the one who's posting on social media all the time, if you decide, I don't want to be on social media for a week, okay, you can decide that you don't want to be on social media for a week, but you're still showing up to your business, right?
Right. That's true.
So now you're not on social media for a week, and you might have missed a DM from somebody, and that could have been a $10,000 deal.
Yeah.
And the only way they had to be able to get in contact with you was through social media, right? And you just unplugged for a week, and then you come back and you're like, oh, sorry, I unplugged, and I already moved on to somebody else.
Yeah. That was you.
Right?
Bunkers, Curtis. What's wrong with you?
So when you have someone like a social media manager like myself or a social media strategist who manages that for you, okay, so now I can catch that DM.
Right.
And because we're in a business together, you can unplug from social media, but I can pick up the phone and be like, I know you unplugged from social media, but I got somebody in DMs right now talking about $10,000 deal. How do you want to handle this? And they can say, oh, give them my number, give them my, whatever the case may be. I'll contact them directly, whatever.
Gotcha.
But if you don't have that because you're so caught up in like, I don't want to be on social media, then you lose the opportunity. Yeah, the time freedom and the ability to unplug without sacrificing your business. I create consistency with a lot of women, especially as you get like in older age groups, which is women in general. Social media sometimes is a beauty pageant contest, right? And you feel like you're competing with everyone else. So the way that I approach content creation, especially for women, I do it in a way that builds confidence.
I love that.
I do it in a way that makes you feel comfortable on camera, because a lot of people aren't comfortable on camera. So when it comes to like creating TikToks and Reels, I think people think that they're live. And I'm like, do you know how, like some of my TikToks and Reels that are on my page, me as a content creator, it took me an hour to do one. Why? Because I had to delete, do again, start over. And I don't think people realize that you can delete it.
Yeah, that's true.
Over, right?
Start over.
And they think that it has to be done right then and there, one take done. Sometimes you get lucky, you can do one take. Sometimes it takes an hour.
Yeah.
But I help when creating content, and like I have my content creation days with clients, like I do it in a way that builds confidence. And when I'm taking their pictures, I'm hyping them up. I'm behind the camera and I'm taking pictures, but I'm also like, okay, yes, give me, just because you need that.
Yeah.
Men and women, but you just need that in general. So I time freedom. I help them create confidence create content in a way that builds confidence. And I keep them consistent.
Okay. So then the question I have for you is, do you see yourself becoming a professor in the future, teaching students about social media content and how to create? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, because listen, this is a science behind this from what I'm understanding.
What you really just asked me is if I'm going to get a PhD. That's what you just asked me about more school. That's what you really
you ain't got to get the PhD. I mean, you could, but I'm just asking the question. You can get the master's, you know what I'm saying? Get you a master's and you can teach.
That's still more school, Sean.
What that mean?
Oh my Lord. Okay.
That ain't that long. I just asked the question. I ain't, if I planted the seed, blame me at graduation. But you know what I'm saying? I just asked the question.
So yes and no. I guess a little BTS behind the scenes, a little gem drop. I am currently in the process of creating an online course.
Ooh, you hear the magic? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm currently in the process of creating an online course on how to create content. I won't say what kind of content, I'll just say content for now.
That's all you need to say.
Because whether it be cost reasons or like people aren't they don't live here, right? And we can't do an in-person situation. Or sometimes people are just a little scared, right? For whatever reason, they have whatever, mental blocks, and it's easier for them to just sit down in front of a computer. I'm starting that process right now.
Okay. You better go ahead and start that process then.
I won't say yes or no if I would ever teach this. And the reason I say that is because social media is changing all the time, right?
That's what I mean.
So 10 years from now, I might be, Professor Pollins, and I'm in, and I'm teaching a class.
And then I'm saying you're welcome. Because I told you. I put it in the atmosphere.
All right.
Y'all heard it here first on the Big Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? You made it through the hot seat, player. It wasn't bad, I promise. You know what I'm saying? Because now we got to go ahead and get that sauce. Get lost in the sauce, ladies and gentlemen. So in this segment, it gives us more insight of our guests where we ask, what is your special ingredient for your business, where you tell us why nobody can replicate what you do. So Miss Scheherazade, tell us what makes Schae Love Social a business nobody can duplicate what you do.
I have two things. One, being that I have had so many different jobs, it allows me to, when I'm creating strategies, it allows me, I know the marketing. So when it comes to something in the beauty field, I'm a fully licensed cosmetologist. That's not one, it's not just hair, it's not just nails, it's not just skin, it's all three.
Right.
So if an esthetician comes to me, I'm like, okay, you don't have to dumb it down. Speak the language. I know the language.
Right.
If it's someone who is in a restaurant, that's food and beverage, which is still nightclub. Speak the language. I get it, right?
Right.
So that's number one. Number two is me. And when I say me, it's because I've been an influencer before. I've been in that seat. So when I'm having that consultation with somebody, I've been the person on the other side of the table. So I know the fears, I know the concerns, I know, the worry, and really not understanding it. Because when I first started, it was Instagram and it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? And like getting hacked and all those, like, people just coming for your followers and all of that. Like, it wasn't what it is now. So I understand their fear. So it allows me to be a lot more compassionate. And I don't look at it as a numbers game. That's why I choose to do it in a way that builds confidence.
I love that. I love it. So what's your secret ingredient?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What is it?
I don't know. I couldn't put a word on it.
Can't put a word to it.
I don't know.
You done built up the recipe. You can't tell me what the secret ingredient. No, I'm just kidding.
Sometimes I kind of hate to use a cliche like term, but it's one of those things like it's not on me, it's in me.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know,
No, I understand.
It's a thing. Like, it's kind of like breathing. Like, it just
is.
Yeah.
See, I like that. I like that a lot. Well, Ms. Scheherazade, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. It's been a pleasure. You definitely taught me a lot. I miss you working on my content, shoot.
Listen, I can give a quick tutorial. You hire somebody, I give a quick little tutorial.
Man, I might have to, because listen, I don't know. I ain't got the time, because I'm like your other folks. I ain't got the time. Yeah. But you know what? This is it's time to celebrate you. It was great to bring you. I know how successful you've been, and I can tell you professionally and personally, I've worked with Miss Scheherazade, and she's worked on my content before. And most of the time I always just text her and be like, hey, can you edit this for you, please? And she comes through. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the time I ask, you know what I'm saying? I respect your craft. I respect what you do, because now we're going into the happy hour, ladies and gentlemen, and we got something for you. On behalf of the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, is for you.
Oh, gifts.
Yes.
I like gifts.
We like gifts.
Oh, it's my favorite color.
Yes. And then as we close in this segment, ladies and gentlemen, we're the hosts and the guests. We give a toast to success, where we ask what's going on, great, big, or small. So Scheherazade, tell us what's good. Tell us what's going on.
So I already spilled that I'm creating a course.
Yep.
But also, I just signed a really good client. I had to work hard for this one, so.
That's good. Let's come on now. Talk about it. So toast to you, many success, many blessings to you, Scheherazade. Let's go. Yes, Curtis. Ow. Miss Scheherazade, drop all your social handles where people can find you. Tell us where they can find you.
I am at SchaeLove.social. That's SCHAELOVE.social. And that is on Instagram. My website is SchaeLove.com. I am Schae Love Social on Facebook as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Let them know. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Scheherazade, for joining us today. It has been a pleasure learning from you, being with you, and being present with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please follow all of our social handles, the Business Information Buffet Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the.bib.podcast. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor at the Bib Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the Bib Podcast, where everybody eats. I am your host, Sean Torrey, with our DJ Icebreak.
DJ Iceberg.
And we're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.